welcome, and I'm Siobhan Drohan, and I'm going to just go through the an introduction to the module here that we have. So the agenda that we're going to look at is basically introducing us. So Eamon did an introduction there, and we'll have a look more at that. And I'm going to talk to you about the structure of the module. This is the Agile Software Development module, and we'll just go through the structure with you about that and how we're going to plan on troubleshooting labs. That may change as we progress through this module, and we'll see how things are going, but we have an initial plan of how we're going to troubleshoot our labs. I suppose one of the main things that you're going to be wondering is how are we going to assess this, and the great news is we'll tell you all about that today, and then we'll just give you some kind of ethos and links of the module, links that are associated with the module. So these are the links to the profile that Eamon showed you there earlier on, so you can find out about Eamon directly through there. And also our contact details are here as well. So Eamon's details, along with my details here, and a contact email address. So the structure of the module. So we will have 12 weeks of delivery altogether. And as you're aware from logging in, that we're dealing with 2 different time zones. So on Wednesday, what we plan on doing is a lecture between 5 to 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So that's for those in Ireland. And then 12 to 2 p.m. for those in America. And then our lab times, where we will, when we say that this is when we plan on running it, this is when Eamon or I will be directly available in the chat room that we will talk to you about later on. And we plan on being directly available at those times between 3 and 5 p.m. Irish time and 10 a.m., which calculates at 10 to 12 in America. So what we're going to be doing is we haven't brought you into Moodle yet, and that's our platform of where you access all of our notes. We're going directly from our GitHub repo so that we don't have to get you enrolled properly and so on. So we will probably start using Moodle at some stage, particularly for you submitting your assignments, but we'll guide you through that as well as to what we expect or how to get onto it and so on. Obviously, we're using Adobe Connect for this session here, and GitHub, that's where you will see that all of your notes are hosted on GitHub, that we publish them out there on a weekly basis. And we publish them on a timely basis so that you can have an access to those notes prior to the lecture starting. And Gitter, this is the chat room that we propose to use. At the moment, we're using the chat room that's inside an Adobe Connect, but that's only alive when Adobe Connect is alive. So what we're going to do is use Gitter so that we can you can leave messages for us and you can contact each other and so on. So that'll be our central contact area outside of Adobe Connect. And my screen is taking a little while to load there. You just have to bear with it for a second. Okay. There's one slide refusing blankly to show for me. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the next one anyway. So what we're going to do is how we're going to troubleshoot our labs. So basically what we're going to do is, this is the plan at the moment, is to post the issue in Gitter. So that's the chat room that I just introduced you to, and we will show you how to log on at the end of this session. And basically if you post your issue in there, whatever it is, think of it as asking a question in a traditional classroom, and give us a little bit of a hint as well as to where it's happening, things like that. So maybe screenshots, anything that you think might be helpful to diagnose the problem that you're having would be great. And what we do is we will encourage classmates as well to help each other. You're all working on the same lab, so chances are if one person has a problem, somebody else will have encountered it. So maybe if you know the answer, reply to them. We'll reply anyway, but all of our responses will be in Gitter so that all students can see the resolution. So we will keep everything transparent and open so that everyone can see these things, except for obviously private chats. Now you'll notice there that my spelling, I apologize already, you will notice this quite a lot. So private chat is also possible with us in Gitter. All you have to do is just do a private message in Gitter if your question is of a nature that you don't want the rest of the group to see it. You can email us directly. So at the moment, Eamon and myself, we plan to do the lectures together for the moment, but maybe as we progress through the module, you may just have one lecturer for your lecture session in a particular week. And if that's the case, then email that particular lecturer who is delivering that week. So then we'll have troubleshooting labs outside of the 2-hour session. Now, we are planning, this is what we're planning on doing, is when we do bring you into Moodle, we've started creating a frequently asked questions section in Moodle, but it is an incredibly embryonic release of it. Only a couple of questions in there, and we anticipate that we will populate that more as the module goes on, or we may abandon it. We'll see how the module goes. But one of the main things when you're outside of the 2-hour session, if you have a particular problem, have a look in the chat room, have a look in Gitter. We will be using Gitter. So have a look in there and see, has the question been asked in there? And if not, maybe it might be on Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is a great resource if any of you have ever looked at it, and we have the link at the end of these slides. Or some other sort of troubleshooting software, knowledge-based software. Then maybe post, if you can't find the answer from a little bit of kind of investigation, post your issue in the chat room, or you can contact us directly, and we'll be monitoring in and out a little bit of the chat rooms as well, so we'll be monitoring those. So the main thing that you're supposedly all wondering, what's the assessment structure for the module? It's 100% continuous assessment. So that means that you will not have an exam at the end, and we will be focusing on projects. We'll be getting projects from you. So the first assignment is worth 40% of the overall grade for this module, and it's due the end of midterm. We have a slide coming up now which will show you the where that is, where midterm falls in the calendar. And assignment 2, which is 60%, that's due early January. We will be finishing up lectures in around the middle of December, so it'll give you a fair amount of time over the Christmas period to still enjoy Christmas and also produce a project for us. The very last one, the first assignment, we won't be looking for any sort of presentations from you. So what we will do for the second assignment, though, is we'll get you to record a 5-minute presentation or video. We will give you a PowerPoint template as well, so that you have an idea of what it is we're asking for in the presentation. And then we'll probably do private connects through Adobe Connect, where it'll just be yourself and the two of us, myself and Damon, and we'll do maybe a code walkthrough through that. So you will submit your assignments through Moodle. Your assignment Dropbox, you'll see them, they will look like that, and we will introduce you to Moodle in a few weeks, and we will show you where those assignment Dropboxes are. So the ethos of the module, well, I suppose it's a master's module, so I suppose self-directed learning outside of lectures and labs is where we would be going with this. You will see that a lot of times when we have material on the slides, there will be links to it, so we will send you off you can go off and investigate deeper if you fancy. And being inquisitive and motivated as well is handy. Helpful to peers, I suppose that's from the Gitter perspective as well. So kind of we're hoping to build a level of community through Gitter so that you can all support each other as well as us supporting you. And it's very important, the second last point there is engagement and staying current with the module. That is quite important because the lectures will build upon the previous one. And you might find that this might snowball out of control if you don't keep up to date with your lab work and your lecture work. So I suppose missing 1 week and trying to catch up on it later on is grand, but if you start missing a couple of weeks, the module can become a bit of a challenge. So another thing that's important is all the work submitted must be your own. And we will be doing different, that's why we're doing the presentations and so on. However, like all code and approaches that we give you in the module, so you'll see that we will give you solutions, we will give you loads of different approaches of how to attack certain problems. They can be reused and repurposed in your assignment. That's not considered plagiarism. So you can repurpose all materials that we give you, but the work then must be built upon by you. And the slide that didn't display was the plan for the weeks. So what I'm going to do is go back here now and just see, will it display for me? It's still refusing. Is it going to do it? What I'll do is when we take a break, I will put it onto another presentation and I will show it to you straight after the break. I'll show you the assignment, the structure of the module, the 12-week structure, and what topics you can expect to do in each of those 12 weeks. I apologize, it's not showing there. So if you have any questions, you can type questions into the chat room down at the bottom here. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to put up just a little quiz and give you a 5-minute break. Eamon and I will be available through the chat room. We'll be able to chat with you if you have any questions, but it just gives you time to take a 5-minute break in between. Okay, so thank you for listening. There we go. Hold on. There's the slide. I'll just share it again. Sorry, a second. It didn't like it in full screen mode for some reason. So you can see there's the structure that I was going to go through that refused to display. So what we've done is this date here is the Monday. So the week starting the 18th of September, we're doing paradigms and languages. So that's today. Now what we have done is we've said that we will deliver these individually. We may change our minds and deliver them together. We'll have a look at how today is going and so on. So as we progress through the module, the next 3 weeks, we will focus on Java. So if you're not clear, or if you've never done Java before, but you've strong programming skills and something else, we will be doing a whistle-stop tour for about 3 weeks on Java. So you'll be happy to hear that, I'd say. The assignment 1, we will release the spec to you next week for assignment 1. So you can be working on it as you're progressing through the labs. We will cover then test-driven development, and you can see test-driven development is appearing throughout this module a fair bit. So we will be covering test-driven development with you. And then we will be doing a lot of the agile tool sets, like Maven and so on. We'll be looking at cloud, a lot of different ways of testing and so on. And we will be covering what we call solid principles. We'll do 3 of the solid principles with you behind object-oriented design. So that's the layout, and you can see here the assignment here, midterm. You can see which week it is. It's in between the two of those. That's the assignment will be due that Sunday. We'll release definite dates or definite time to you and how to submit it coming closer to the date. And then when you come back straight after midterm, we will release assignment 2 spec to you as well. So that's the structure of the module. And